What if I told you the biggest threat to the U.S. economy right now isn't a war, isn't a virus, and it's definitely not a social movement? No, no, no. It's a silent, strategic revenge move coming straight out of China's playbook, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $1 trillion. Sounds crazy? It gets even wilder. For years, everyone believed the U.S. was untouchable. After all, who would dare challenge the almighty dollar? But behind closed doors, China has been quietly preparing the ultimate checkmate, a treasury bond sell-off so massive it could shake Wall Street to its core, spike inflation overnight, trigger a recession, and send the global economy spiraling. And the question nobody dares to answer out loud is this: is America really ready for this financial bomb to explode? Or has Trump's tariffs war finally poked the wrong dragon? Stay right here, because what I'm about to show you might change the way you see money, power, and global control forever. Look, let me tell you something crazy about this whole trade war between the US and China. It's like watching two giants playing chess, but with bombs instead of pawns. At first, the US thought slapping a 125% tariffs hike on Chinese products would teach Beijing a lesson. Bold move, right? But oh boy, China didn't just sit there sipping tea. They clapped back hard, raising their own tariffs on U.S. goods from 34% to a jaw-dropping 84%. That's not a negotiation. That's a street fight with suits on. But here's where things get really spicy. You see, every single tariffs increase is like adding fuel to an already raging fire. The higher the tariffs, the more expensive products become for everyday folks like you and me. And while politicians argue on TV, normal people start feeling the heat, from their grocery bill to their tech gadgets. That's the silent ripple effect of a trade war nobody talks about. It's not just about politics, it's about your pocket. And want to know the plot twist most people miss? This trade war isn't just about tariffs. Nope, this is only the opening scene. Behind the curtains, China holds an ace card so powerful, so terrifying, that it could shake the very heart of the U.S. economy. Something even scarier than tariffs. So if you're curious to know what that card is, trust me, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and get ready, because things are about to get wild. Now, buckle up, because this is where the trade war story takes a dangerous twist. While everyone's eyes were on tariffs, China was quietly holding something way more powerful than any import tax. I'm talking about treasury bonds. And not just a few. We're talking about a mind-blowing $900 billion to $1.1 trillion worth of US Treasury bonds. That's basically like holding the strings to America's wallet. Imagine this. You owe your worst enemy a mountain of cash, and one day, they threaten to collect all at once. That's exactly what China's considering doing with its treasury bonds. This strategy? It's not just aggressive. It's been nicknamed the trade war's atomic bomb. Because if China starts a massive bond sell-off, it could trigger a financial earthquake in the U.S. that even the most powerful billionaires wouldn't escape from. And hey, let me tell you, this isn't just about shaking Wall Street. Nope. It's about shaking global confidence in the U.S. economy. If China actually dumps those treasury bonds, the world could see the U.S. dollar stumble like never before. But wait, the show's not over. The panic that followed this move? Oh, it was just the beginning. When whispers turned into headlines about China's possible bond sell-off, Wall Street didn't just flinch, it freaked out. Investors started running like the building was on fire. And why wouldn't they? A sudden flood of treasury bonds on the market would send interest rates through the roof. That means loans, mortgages, and basically everything gets more expensive. Enter stage left, inflation. But what's really insane is how quickly fear spreads in a trade war. In minutes, the market went from confident to chaotic. The U.S. economy is like a Jenga tower. Pull the wrong treasury bond out, and the whole thing wobbles. The rising fear of inflation, soaring interest rates, and market volatility made investors hit the panic button. And trust me, when money runs scared, history shows things get messy fast. Still, as terrifying as a bond sell-off sounds, China's next move wasn't just reckless destruction. Nope, their strategy was a little more patient, a little more calculated. And what they did next? Oh, that's what separates the amateurs from the grandmasters in this high-stakes trade war chess game. Stick around, and hey, smash that like button and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. See, China's no fool. They know that dumping all their treasury bonds at once might hurt the U.S., but would also hurt themselves. It's like setting your neighbor's house on fire when you live next door. That's why China started playing it smart. Instead of one explosive bond sell-off, they began slowly reducing their U.S. assets, little by little, like watching a quiet exit from a very loud party. Experts say this method puts pressure on the U.S. without crashing China's own investments. And in the world of global finance, that's genius-level strategy. Every whisper about a possible bond sell-off makes Wall Street sweat bullets, driving inflation fears higher and shaking the market's nerves. And the beauty of it? China doesn't even have to do much. Just the threat is enough to cause panic. But don't think for a second that China's strategy stops with Treasury bonds. Not even close. There's a bigger game they're playing, a game that targets something even deeper than America's bonds. It strikes at the heart of America's greatest strength, the dollar itself. Yep, you heard that right. China's playing 4D chess, aiming straight at the U.S. dollar dependency. For decades, the U.S. dollar has been king, ruling global trade, controlling transactions, and holding unmatched influence. But China? They're slowly building an escape route. And their weapon? Diversification. Enter the digital yuan and new currency deals across Asia. By encouraging trade deals in local currencies and reducing dollar dependency, China's making moves to weaken the dollar's grip on global markets. Think about it. If fewer countries need dollars, the U.S. loses a huge advantage. That, paired with a stealthy bond sell-off, is a double punch to America's financial pride. And don't think this is all theory. The signs are already here. Central banks reducing dollar reserves. China expanding digital currency projects. The puzzle pieces are falling into place. But remember, every move has consequences. And as both giants dig in their heels, there's one thing no one can ignore. When elephants fight, the grass suffers. And in this trade war, that grass might just be the global economy. Now, let me share with you something only the sharpest minds see coming. This isn't just a game where China wins and the U.S. loses. No, sir. A brutal trade war like this comes with serious risk for both sides. A full-blown bond sell-off could trigger a wave of inflation, market chaos, and even, brace yourself, a global recession. Think back to the Great Depression of the 1930s. Protectionist policies, high tariffs, and economic isolation never ended well. And here's the kicker. China's own economy is tied to the U.S. like two climbers on the same rope. If the U.S. falls into a recession, demand for Chinese products drops. That means slower growth, job losses, and uncertainty back in Beijing. It's like both sides are holding grenades without pins. Whoever moves first might hurt themselves just as much. But what's fueling the standoff? What's making both sides dig in deeper instead of finding common ground? Well, that leads us to the final scene in this incredible saga. The deadlock in negotiations. The silence. The tension's so thick, you could slice it with a knife. Picture this. Trump, sitting by the phone, waiting for China to call. Meanwhile, China? They're sitting with arms crossed, demanding the U.S. drop those outrageous tariffs first. It's a classic standoff. The kind you'd expect in an old-school Western, only this time. The guns are made of Treasury bonds and the bullets are made of inflation. But behind the scenes, both sides are sweating. The U.S. knows that a prolonged trade war could spiral into a devastating recession. China knows that a total collapse in the U.S. economy would ricochet right back at them. Yet neither wants to be the first to blink. It's pride, politics, and power all rolled into one complicated mess. And here's what makes this whole thing absolutely fascinating. This deadlock isn't just about today. It's about the future of global dominance, control over dollar dependency, and rewriting the rules of trade forever. So hey, if you're loving this deep dive into the financial battlefield, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Now tell me, be honest, did you ever imagine that something as invisible as Treasury bonds could hold the power to shake an empire like the United States? That's the magic of hidden knowledge. While most people are distracted by the noise on social media, you just unlocked one of the most powerful and strategic secrets in the entire trade war saga. But here's the real question. If this fact blew your mind, imagine what else is out there, waiting to be discovered. How many other stories, behind-the-scenes moves, and historical patterns are shaping your life, without you even noticing? The truth is, only a small, elite group of people, the thinkers, the curious, the ones hungry for knowledge, even bother to look this deep. And today, you just joined them. So now I'll ask you, do you want to stay like 99% of people, blind to the real game of power? Or do you want to keep learning, growing, and being part of this rare group of smart, insightful people who understand how the world really works? If the answer is yes, hit that subscribe button, activate the notifications, and get ready, because this was just the beginning of your journey.